Hello, you guys. It's Hockey Baby, and welcome back to a music talk. This is like our first music talk back on the channel. So I am going to be talking about vinyl variants. I'm going to be talking about so many different artists. I'm going to be talking about Taylor Swift, Beyonce. I have the Renaissance vinyl here as an example for something. I'll show you later. Taylor Swift, Beyonce, Doja Cat, Cardi, Cardi. There's who else is there? Olivia Rodrigo, Billy, Charlie. Like I'm gonna be talking about so many different artists, Sabrina, and vinyl variants and album covers and stuff like that. And I'm gonna be talking about like how like Taylor like gets a lot of flack for vinyls and why I think that is, and like is the critique deserved about vinyls. So like I'm really excited to talk about this and have a conversation about vinyls. You know, with vinyl variants, I feel that they have taken over, and I feel vinyl variants have gotten excessive, and I feel vinyl variants have gotten to be a little bit too much. I think that vinyl variants are taking away from the meaning of an album cover. Because when I say the album Thriller, your mind immediately goes to Michael in that one pose in that white suit. When I say like Dangerous Woman by Ariana Grande, your mind goes to the Cat Ears. When I say Dangerously in Love by Beyonce, when I say The Emancipation to Meet Me, when I say Daydream by Mariah Carey, when I say I Am Sasha Fierce by Beyonce, when I say 1989, Fearless, The Fame Monster, Folklore, when I say Sweetener, when I say like there's so many other ones on this wall. Like when I say an album name can evoke like what the theme of that album, like an album cover evokes what the theme of the album is. And I feel like when I say like a certain name, like when I say like Baby One More Time or Oops I Did It Again by Britney Spears, like your mind goes to those covers and it thinks about those covers. So like I feel like vinyl variants are really taking away from the art and the intention that goes behind an album cover. And in my opinion, I think that vinyl variants today are used as a rollout. And I don't like how now a rollout consists of vinyl variants. Like, oh, this week I'm going to give you a vinyl variant. This week I'm going to give you this vinyl variant. This week I'm going to give you that vinyl variant. I don't like that. I think one who did it was Sabrina, but I really didn't care that Sabrina did it because Sabrina was also outperforming and doing stuff. But like, and I'm going to get on Sabrina and her vinyl variant, but Sabrina did it. Cardi B kind of did it, but the rollout for Cardi's B album was very good. Cardi B was out. She was doing things. She was telling people, go get my album. She was out in New York promoting her album. Like the rollout for Cardi B's album was pretty great, and it didn't rely heavily on the vinyls. It did rely on go buy my album, but it didn't rely on a new vinyl variant. Although she did release, I think, about 6 to 7, which I don't think was necessary. But I don't like how vinyl variants have now just become like, oh, this is the rollout for the album. Here we go. Like from like say you announce the album in March and it comes out in July. Like from March to July, all you're gonna give us is vinyl variants, track list, and cover art. Like that's boring and that's not a real rollout. But we're gonna get into. I need to get into my notes because we're gonna get into like the brunt of like what I think vinyl variant should be. And going back to the covers, I think with artists, I feel like once again I said vinyl variants are taking away from the album covers. I feel like if you're gonna have a different album cover, it should be for the deluxe or for like a Walmart exclusive or for a Target exclusive. But I don't think the album cover needs to change with every single vinyl variant. Because like with Taylor Swift, like for instance, The Life of a Showgirl has 8 vinyl variants. It has like I think like 6 to 7 different covers. The cover I would have chose for the album would have been the King is Your King, The Crowd is Your King. That edition, I really liked that album cover. I may put it up on the screen, and I liked also the Tiny Bubbles and Champagne. I like those. I feel like those represent the album. The original Life of the Showgirl album cover, like it gives like I OD'd on pills and I'm drowning in a bathtub. Like that's what it gets like somebody drowning in death to a bathtub. Like I just don't like that cover. I don't feel like it represents the album well. I think when I think of that album cover, I think of like someone's ODing on some type of medication or something and they're drowning in a bathtub. Like they're about to die. That's what I think of. But like I feel like the Crowd is Your King edition is really, really cute. And so is the Tiny Bubbles. I feel like those would have been great standalone album covers. But like I do think that like if you're going to do a different album cover, let's do it for like a Walmart exclusive. Let's do it for like a Target exclusive. Another artist who I feel album cover shouldn't have had a lot of different covers was Sabrina Carpenter. Sabrina, I feel like she did different covers because of the controversy, but I feel like she should have stuck her foot down, took the controversy, and just kept on with that one album cover because that album cover is iconic and it is amazing. And I wish she would have kept it with that just one and took the controversy instead of giving us like I think it was like about 5 to 6 different album covers, and I feel like they weren't necessary. Now, getting into what I think artists should do about their album covers. Before I talk about individual artists, I want to talk specifically about Beyonce, and we can knock Beyonce out right now. I think a good album variance, a good number is around 6. I feel 6 is even a little too much, but 6 is I think is a good number. Now Beyonce's Cowboy Carter had 5. It had the standard Cowboy Carter album cover, which is right here. It had the standard cover, and then it had the Beyonce cover, and it had Beyonce in red, white, and blue, which added to the themes of the album, which was about America and country music and blah 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 blah. And then it had like the tour book, and then it had the standard album. Renaissance had two. Renaissance had this cover, and then within the book, I'm gonna take it out. Within the book, this was the other cover. I think this is what artists need to start doing. Like there were two variants. One was this cover, one was this cover. And I think this is what artists need to start doing. Instead of having multiple vinyl variants, they need to start doing a book. Put the pictures in a book. Like put them in a book. Like literally like look at this. A book. It's like 30 pictures. Like and we're not gonna go through every pictures. I feel like there are like only like really like two different pictures in here that probably could have been an alternate cover, but I feel like artists are taking stuff like they're taking like a picture like this and making it an alternate cover. For example, like they're taking a picture like this and making it an alternate cover, which this doesn't need to be an alternate cover. Like another example, like some artists would take this picture and make it an alternate cover compared to Beyonce put it in a book. Like I really do think that like artists should start doing this, putting all the pictures that you have in a book. And it's like if you have like leftover images, do what Beyonce did and do a whole nother album book. Do a whole nother album variant that has even more pictures in it that you couldn't add. Like if you did only 40, I think there's like 16 songs, so about like 16 times 2 is 32. So if you only fit 32 to 40 pictures in here, do another book with like another 30 to 40 or 80 pictures. But I feel like and I'm done with that, but I feel like the whole like doing multiple covers and covers and covers, it's ridiculous and it's quite literally unnecessary. So that's my thoughts on Beyonce and her vinyl variants. She had 5 for Cowboy Carter, 2 for Renaissance. Now I'm gonna get on Taylor. I'm gonna talk about Taylor. So Folklore had 8. I think Folklore had the regular cover, but it had different colors. Midnight's, I think, had somewhere around 6, if I'm not mistaken. Midnight's had 6 vinyl variants, but I liked Midnight's vinyl variants. I liked the idea of the clock of like quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4. I like the different ideas of the clock quadrants. I felt like that was a very good idea. Now TTPD, my lord. TTPD had 6 final variants, but then she did the iTunes. I'm trying to like think about how to talk about this. She did the iTunes first. No, she did the iTunes variants. So like what Taylor did was she did the vinyl variants where it's like each vinyl variant had like bonus tracks of like, oh, like these 4 to 5 tracks just for the tracks to come out at 2 a.m. That I feel like should not have been done. In my opinion, how I would have did the vinyl variants for Tortured Poets Department. So for the Tortured Poets Department, how I would have did the vinyl variants was I feel like the promo and the rollout should have been throughout the tour. The rollout for Tortured Poets Department should have been through the tour. So like I feel like Tortured Poets Department, it should have been like a surprise, like, oh my gosh, like We get to the Eras tour. We're back with the 2024 leg, and somewhere in there is the Tortured Poets Department era. And like you add it in and you perform your set, and then like you do like an acoustic song of like from the album. And I feel like once she got through all the acoustic songs on the first part of the album, then she should have started moving on to the second part of the album and releasing and doing those acoustic songs. And the fans are like, "Oh my gosh, deluxe is coming! Like a deluxe version is coming." And then I think she also should have released those acoustic versions as their own variant. So you have the standard album, you have the acoustic part one. So like standard album, then like you do standard deluxe with the acoustic. Then you have the second part of the album deluxe, and then like you have the second part of the album with the second part album's acoustic. Like I feel like all the rollout for the album should have been through the tour. I don't feel she should have announced at the Grammys. I think she should have did it through the tour. I feel like that would have been more iconic and that would have been more of a better rollout than you releasing each week on iTunes. It's like every week on iTunes, you're releasing a new variant, you're releasing a new variant, you're releasing a new variant with just one song. That was very inorganic. It was very inorganic and it was very unnecessary. Now, on to the subject of did Taylor block Charlie and Billy? So, part of me is like, yes. And then part of me is like, no. Part of me is like, girl, you were strategically putting out these variants on iTunes or wherever they are, with just this one song for you to stay number one. And the only time you strategically did not drop a variant was when Sabrina released, because you kind of liked her because she opened for you. But then part of me is also like, were they just playing the game of who could release the most vinyl variants? Were Billy, Charlie, and Taylor playing the game of who could release the most vinyl variants? And Taylor just beat them at the game and she won. That's part of how I view it. Part of how I view it is Taylor somewhat did block them, and what she was. Part of me thinks that Taylor knew what she was doing, and it was very strategic with how she was releasing these variants. And then part of me is like, Billy, Charlie, and Taylor were playing a game, and Taylor just won the game. So like I don't think Billy and Charlie's hands are fully clean in that ordeal, for the simple fact Charlie had 22 different variants and Billy had, let me go check because I have it right here. Billy had 9. So I don't think Charlie's and Billy hands are fully clean, but Taylor hands most definitely aren't clean. The way the Tortured Poets Department's variants and the way that rollout was done was terrible. Now, I'm going to talk about Charlie and Billy for a little bit. With Charlie and Billy, what I did not like, and also Olivia, because Hit Me Hard and Soft had 9. So for the variants of Billy, Charlie, and Olivia, I'm going to talk about them now. Hit Me Hard and Soft had 9. Charlie had 22. Guts had about 12 to 18. What I didn't like about Charlie, Billy, and Olivia was now we're releasing vinyl variants of every color of the rainbow. Why do we need like why do we need like 8 to 10 vinyl variants that are different colors? Like Charlie's vinyl variants were just like multiple colors. Now the vinyl variants for Charlie that I do agree with was like the standard Brat in the Brat Deluxe and the Brat remix. Those vinyl variants are fine because like you're giving new content. You're giving us new content, you're giving us new songs. But we do not need vinyl variants of just colors of the rainbow. Same with Billy. With Billy, we don't need vinyl variants with colors of the rainbow. Same with Olivia. We don't need vinyl variants with colors of the rainbow. Now Olivia did do a deluxe, and Olivia did something else. I have it right here. Olivia did a deluxe, but mostly, and she had like a few alternate covers, but I feel like the alternate covers really did not add to the albums. Really did not add to the album or the album art. So, like with Billy, Olivia, and Charlie, I did not like the way they did their vinyl variants either. I feel, like I said, we don't need 1,000 colors of the rainbow for a vinyl variant. With Charlie, I feel she should have just did a regular black pressing and then a green pressing, a bright green pressing. Billy, she should do like a regular black pressing and then like a blue pressing. Olivia should have done a regular black pressing and then maybe a red pressing and a purple pressing. But like all these other colors that don't really even add to the theme of your album, it's useless and it makes no sense and there's no point in it. And that's what I don't like. The multiple variants that don't add to the album's theme, like that just, it's unnecessary to me. I think it's unnecessary. And you don't need 12 to 22 vinyl variants for an album. It's unnecessary. Now, getting back to Taylor, with Taylor in these vinyl variants, what I think with Taylor, why I feel last year she got a lot of flack for these final variants, because when she was getting the flack for Midnights, I was like, I don't care. Because Midnights there was a little controversy, but I really didn't care because I was like, I thought the idea of a clock was a genius idea. I like that idea. So when she was getting flack for that, I didn't care. But Tortured Poets Department, I feel the reason why Taylor got a lot of flack for that and a lot of criticism was because you were blocking women on the charts when you were releasing these variants, you were blocking women. Because I feel last year in 2024, I feel like all the women had an understanding that we're gonna let each other shine, and especially like the veterans like Beyonce, Ariana Grande. It's like we had an understanding that we're gonna let the new girls shine and let them have their moment. Like when it's time for you to release, we're gonna let you have your moment, and then when it's time for me to release, like I'm gonna move on and I'm gonna let you have your moment. Taylor was the only one who did not get the memo. Last year, Taylor was the only one Last year, Taylor Swift was the only one who didn't get the memo that we're going to let all the female artists shine this year and have their moment on the charts. She was the only one. She was the only one who said, "Yeah, no, I'm not going to move along. I'm going to let them still. I'm still going to do what I want to do." It's like, girl, you were literally on tour. The tour, and like I said, the tour was the promotion for the album. She didn't need to do anything else but perform it on tour, and that's the album promotion, really. So like I feel that's why Taylor got a lot of flack was because you were blocking women on charts. In We're in a stage right now to where the industry is so heavily dominated by women. Like in 20 since the 2020s, women have been dominating except for the occasional male who goes number one. Like I think last year it was Shabuzi and Kendrick. Like some years it's been like Morgan Wallen and Lil Nas X and Jack Harlow and Drake and da 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 da. It's been so many, but for the most part, women have been dominating, and I think that's why people were mad at Taylor last year was because it's like, okay, you blocked Kanye. Nobody cared about that. People actually rejoiced for that. You blocked Drake. I saw people checking Drake when Drake got mad that Taylor blocked him on some charts with Midnights. But like, it's like, girl, you're blocking women. You're blocking women, and you're blocking these newer artists or artists who are not as established as you, and it's completely unnecessary. That is why Taylor got a lot of flack last year for those vinyl variants. Just in my opinion. And I feel that's really all I have to say about Taylor and the vinyl variants. The Life of the Showgirl, we're currently at 7 to 8 variants. I feel the variants for that album, like I said, are unnecessary. I already said what covers I think she should have chose. She should have shown like the King of the Show edition, whatever that's called, and then like the Champagne Bubbly edition. I feel like those represent what the album could be better. But for the Life of the Showgirl, let's speak on that for a little bit. I'm excited for the Life of the Showgirl. I heard it's amidst in 1989 in folklore. Like I heard that Shellback and Max Martin are back. I'm excited for that. I feel this is going to be a great album. I feel it's I feel it's generally going to be a great album. I'm very excited for it, and I'm going to say my claim tracks now. I think I should say my claim tracks now. We're going to have them on the record. I don't know if I should react to it. I don't like doing reactions, and I really don't want to edit one. But let me know if you guys think I should do a Taylor reaction. I can't see this. Okay, I can see now. So my claim tracks I feel are Ruin the Friendship, Cancelled, Honey, The Life of a Showgirl, and The Fate of Ophelia. I feel like The Fate of Ophelia as a album opener, like because it's just like if you know about Ophelia, I think I just made the connection to the album cover in The Fate of Ophelia. Because if you know about The Fate of Ophelia, Ophelia dies. She commits suicide. Ooh, I don't know if I can say that word, but she commits suicide in the ocean. So like maybe that's the connection. Although I don't like the original album cover, maybe that's the connection to the original album cover. Like with the fate of Ophelia, like Ophelia goes away in the ocean, and Taylor is in this water for the album cover, and the fate of Ophelia is number one. So my claim tracks are the fate of Ophelia, ruin the friendship, canceled honey, the life of the showgirl, and kind of wishlist. Wishlist is an honorable mention. So those are my claim tracks for that, and that's my opinion really on Taylor and her vinyl variants. I talked about Billy. Billy 9 variants were not needed. Charlie 22 variants was most certainly not needed. Olivia 12 to 18 variants were not needed. Beyonce did 2 for Renaissance, 5 for Cowboy Carter. I will say for Beyonce with her variants, I do think that Act 3 is going to have about 6 variants. I wouldn't be surprised if Act 3 has its standard cover, then she does a second alternate cover and a third alternate cover to commemorate the 3 album covers. I do want the covers to be spread out. I don't want all 3 covers at once because I feel like I said, having multiple album covers take away from the overall one album cover that's supposed to represent the album. So I do want that if she's going to do 3 album covers commemorating Act 3, I do want the 3 covers to be distributed well and distributed nicely. So I can see Act 3 having about 6 variants of the album. And I am very excited about her. And I will say, when Beyonce released those variants for Cowboy Carter, I was like, having the colors of the flag, that's cute, but I'm not buying it. Like I love Beyonce, but I was not gonna buy 5 variants for an album. I just wasn't. But and some people say, well, like you're not forced to buy these tracks, but I feel like you're not forced to buy these variants. But I feel fans kind of like miss out because they're like, damn, like I like that variant, but I just spent money on the original variant, and it's like I don't want to spend $60 to $100 buying multiple vinyl variants because you're just releasing them one by one by one by one and not all at once. I think, especially with Taylor, a lot of fans are like with Taylor and Sabrina and like Charlie and Chop, not Charlie, Charlie and Billy. They were like, why weren't these all released all at once? Especially if they're just different color pressings. Why not release these all at once instead of just releasing it over time? I think that's a lot of people's problem too. So like I agree with that sentiment that most of them should be released all at once. I don't mind having 2 or 3 that come along the way, but most should be released all at once. Now Ariana Grande, Eternal Sunshine had 6. Um 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 eh, Eternal Sunshine. Okay, let's talk about it for a while though. Let me be serious. Eternal Sunshine, I didn't like the variants. There's one, two, three, four, five, six, and then there's 8 with the deluxe. I didn't like the variants. I only like the standard cover in the cover with her in the chair. I feel like those were the 2 good variants, but the other variants for Eternal Sunshine, I didn't like. The eyes, I didn't like that. The other one, I didn't like. The multiple one with the red gloves, I didn't like. The one with the different people were cute. That was cute. And then she had one with just like the face for the yes and cover. But like for the Eternal Sunshine variants, I didn't like. No, I will say the Brighter Days, those variants were a lot better. I did like those. But Eternal Sunshine did have 6 variants, and I didn't like most of them. I really only liked 2 out of 3 out of the standard versions that we did get when she announced the album. But for the most part, I didn't like the variants. And with Sabrina, I already touched on that. With Sabrina, I feel like with her vinyl variants, she was really releasing these vinyl variants to kind of, I feel, take away from the controversy that the original album cover got. And I feel Sabrina should have doubled down, stood 10 toes down, and not release another variant and let that album cover speak for itself because that album cover represents the album. I don't think there was no need for another variant until like I feel like, oh, a Target exclusive, let's release another variant. A Walmart exclusive, let's release another variant that has a different cover. But I feel like I really wish she would have stuck to her guns, especially for this album, and just stayed with the regular cover because it sparked a lot of controversy. And I feel it's an amazing cover. Do I feel like this cover set women back? Do I feel like all the discourse, like this cover and this album is setting women back? That cover is not setting women back decades. There are like plenty of things I can name that are setting women back. A Sabrina Carpenter's album cover is not that. Now with Cardi and Doja. Cardi and Doja. Doja, I believe, had 6 variants. She had 6 variants, different pressings, and then like a few different album covers. With Doja's, I liked her variants. I feel they were cute. Do I feel they were all necessary? No, I don't feel they were all necessary. When Cardi was with her variants, I was like, Cardi, these are too many variants. Like I feel like there was no need to do these many pressings if you knew that you were going to release different variants. I feel she should have kept it with the Imaginary Players one. the original one, and I feel she should have did the one with the alternate one with the little bird. Those should have been the three main variants. But I don't. The pink one, it's cute, but I don't think the pink variant for Cardi. I don't think that variant was necessary. And I feel the different vinyl variants for different like colors of the rainbow. Like I said, if you're doing vinyl variants with the colors of the rainbow, it's unnecessary. You don't need to do it, especially when the colors don't add to the theme of the album. I feel she should have did a regular red and a regular black, and then just kept on with the other three album covers that she did. I feel like she should have stuck to like three album covers instead of doing like the pink. The pink one's cute, I guess, but like I said, do an album book. Like the black and white one that she did, I feel like that one wasn't necessary at all, and I feel like that gave too much of a Bodak Yellow tease. But not Bodak Yellow tease, invasion of privacy tease. But like with Cardi and Doja, those are my opinion on variants. So yeah, that's really all I wanted to talk about vinyl variants. Let me know if you guys want me to make the Life of the Showgirl reaction video. I may do that. I may not. I don't know. But that's my opinion on vinyl variants. Tell me what you think. Tell me your opinion on vinyl variants. Do you like purchasing vinyl variants? What do you think about vinyl variants? And how you think they've taken over the energy. Don't forget taken over the industry, excuse me. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And tell me what other video suggestions you guys think I should have. And bye. That could be the Life of the Showgirl. What I think should be the cover, and I may put it up here, is like the crowd is your king. That will be a great cover to represent the Life of a Showgirl. Or the tiny bubbles of champagne. That will be a great way to, show the life of a showgirl. That gives that album. I feel like the original album cover for Be Fucking For Real. Oh my fucking gosh. I'm gonna crash out.